What's up everybody, another beautiful day in Azeroth, and today we'll be taking a look at a returning dungeon, Blackrook Hold, from Legion and a part of Season 3 dungeon pool. Now I'll be going over notable trash, interrupts, and boss mechanics. Let me know what y'all think of these dungeon guides in the comments. Starting off with the notable trash before the first boss, here you can choose to go left or right. Both sides have the same trash, but different mini-bosses at the end of them. Most groups back in the Legion days skipped all of this trash up to first boss with a good old invis pot. But if you do end up killing this trash, the ghostly protector casts sacrifice soul, which increases their damage taken by 200%, but reduces all other mobs damage taken by 75%. You either interrupt it instantly or hard swap to that mob and burn it down, since that mob will take increased damage. And the counselors, they only have soul blast right now. They used to have dark mending, but no more. Healers, you want to keep an eye out for Retainer's Soul Blade Dot. If you go left side, you fight Etheldrin plus a Counselor and 2 Retainers. Now Etheldrin casts Soul Echoes. Make sure to stutter step drop him so you don't put circles everywhere. And if you go right side, you get Velandras. Stay spread for her Glaive Toss. Tank, be ready for some extra damage taken from the Strike Down. For the first boss, you have the Amalgam of Souls. Don't ever get hit by Reap Soul. Huge 180-degree arc frontal. Players targeted by soul echoes should move out and stutter step to drop their void zones, which will then detonate a few seconds after. Try not to paint the entire boss room with these, tempting as it may be. Players targeted by swirling scythe must move out fast and drop it. Now at 50%, boss cast Call Soul. Get over here. Summoning 7 banshees around the edge of the room. You can root, stun, slow, grip, as well as kill these ads, and the goal is for none of them to reach boss before its cast is done. Any ads that are still up when Soul Burst goes off dies, but if they reach boss before the cast, they empower it, making it slap harder, and you die. Regardless, you want to make sure to use a defensive for this. It deals a lot of damage. Following this, phase 1 repeats. Notable trash before the second boss. First out is the Spider Gauntlet. Staircase? Goal is to keep chain pulling all the small spiders up to the big spider near the top. These spiders mainly do a ton of tank damage and a magic dot that needs to be dispelled, and they blow up on death, but they do hurt a lot. Then you want to keep an eye on Soul Torn Champion's Frontal Cone. Bone Breaking Strike. Deals a ton of damage and stuns you for 4 seconds. The Risen Scout and Companion. The Scout casts Knife Dance, which can only be interrupted by stunts and disrupts like Incap, Knock, etc. The Companion will leap random range targets, dealing a ton of damage. Prio these down, stun, root their leap if possible. You also want to make sure to keep an eye on the Risen Archer Arrow Barrage. They will jump away, then channel a Cone Barrage that deals a metric ton of damage. When the room is cleared, a mini boss plus 2 scouts and an archer jumps down. Line of sight these behind one of the pillars to make it easier. Second boss, Ilisana Ravencrest. Tanks, watch out for Vengeful Shear. Spread out before Brutal Glaive to avoid getting the bleed on multiple players. Then players marked by Fell Rush should get close to each other so that the boss doesn't Fell Rush all over the room, spreading flames everywhere. I mean, it looks pretty, but it's bad. Then at max energy, she jumps away and spawns 2 ads. Players targeted by her I-beam, kited along the edges, not near the boss. Drag melee ad to the range ad and keep the Arcanist interrupted and cleave him down with boss. Do make sure to not get hit by the melee ad's Frontal Cone stun. And you want to cleave him down with boss. After a bit, boss lands, rinse, repeat. Notable trash before the third boss. 2 gauntlets and a castle's worth of trash. First one is the Boulder Staircase. If you get hit, you get knocked back and stunned and take a ton of damage. When a single player makes it to the top, the boulders stop. He's like, oh shit, they got me. The Wrathguard Blade Lord slap the ever-living fudge out of tanks. Make sure to stun their Brutal Assault to minimize tank slapping. They also enrage at 25% HP. The Wormtongue Scavengers will chug Ancient Potions, which is a very long cast, but when it's finished, they get 1 out of 3 different buffs. Either Frenzy Potion, giving them 400% increased attack speed, and 5% increased damage every second. If this goes off, they need to be stunned or kited, or tank will explode. Hyperactive causes them to spin to win. Knock players back. Should also be kited and or stunned. Indigestion causes them to belch out fire in a cone. Can be stunned or just move behind them. Fire bad. The next gauntlet, you will have 1 dominator at the start and 2 at the end of the stairs and a swarm of bats that continues to spawn until you reach the boss room upstairs. And the dominators cast Fell Frenzy. A lot. It increases their damage and size by 15% and attack speed by 25% per stack. It is interruptible and can be purged. More importantly, they will sick bats on random players, causing all nearby bats to focus that target. Some groups pull first dominator to the middle point and kill it there with the bats that spawned. Some groups pull it all the way to the top with the 2 other dominators at the end.
We can't stop here. This is bat country.
If you're able to pull all of them, you can pull them inside the boss room and not get any more bats. But you do need to deal with 3 dominators at the same time. Choices. And then we have the third boss, Smash Mouth Spite. Players targeted by the bat's fell vomit, position it along/across the edge of the room to save space. There's a lot of vomit, like a lot. Whatever they're feeding their bats, boss will target a player with hateful gaze. They will get charged by the boss, and this can be intercepted by other players. It deals a ton of damage and increases damage taken by the charge by 300% for a minute, and tanks can soak multiple of these. Healers and DPS should only soak 1 with a defensive cooldown. If they get targeted with the debuff, someone else needs to intercept it to save him. For example, the lovely tank. I don't wanna. And also, tanks, be mindful of Brutal Haymaker. It increases damage taken by 75%, so could be unwise to soak charge during this, especially if you're already debuffed. Moving on. Notable trash before the last boss. The Risen Lancer and Swordsman. The Lancer will cast Raven's Dive constantly. An earthy swirl on the ground that deals damage and stuns anyone hit for 5 seconds. Don't be in it! Swordsman smash tank with Coup de Grace. For the last boss, we have Lord Ravencrest. Or is it? Phase 1, Ravencrest. Avoid his whirling blade, it bounces back and forth. Dark Blast will fire a huge beam across the room. This beam is one of those things you do not want to get hit by. When Ravencrest is down, Phase 2 starts. About 15 seconds into Phase 2, everyone in the party gets a massive buff, increasing their max health, damage done, all the good stuff. However, the boss will deal a ton of group-wide damage with Shadow Bolt Volley. One of these they will cast before you get the massive buff, so use defensives on the first one. Players targeted by Stinging Swarm should move into melee. Their swarm needs to be nuked down or they get chain stunned. Keep moving boss and group away from Cloud of Hypnosis, which will put you to sleep. When boss casts Dreadlord's Guile, he goes away and chain casts Dark Blast or Dark Obliteration in an anti-clockwise direction. Beams are bad. Keep an eye on Cloud of Hypnosis during this. And that's pretty much it for Blackrook Hold Mythic. Hope it helps, and if you have any questions at all, hit me up in the comments on stream or become a patron/Twitch sub and get access to the Stankie Discord, where you can get help with anything PvE related like dungeons, raiding. Don't forget the usual stuff. If you want to help out, like, comment, subscribe, and slap that notification bell. Releasing a lot of guides for 10.2. Thank you all for watching. I will see you next time.